For years now, decades, Pakistan has continued to bleed India, and now Pakistan's game seems at least to be up. The United States has called Pakistan's bluff just about a short while back. The President of the United States tweeting in what suggests could follow snapping of all financial aid to the terror state, accusing it of deceit and lies for the $33 billion of US aid given over the last 15 years and refusing to not act on terror.
It's the biggest diplomatic slap on Pakistan's face. And it comes from one of its biggest allies, the United States. On the first day of the new year, Donald Trump dealt the bloodiest blow to Pakistan, exposing it as a sponsor of terrorism. In a scathing tweet, US President Donald Trump vowed to cut off all financial aid to Pakistan, saying that the United States has foolishly given Pakistan more than $33 billion in aid over the last 15 years, and they have given us nothing but lies and deceit, thinking of our leaders as fools. They give safe haven to the terrorists we hunt in Afghanistan with little help. No more. The sensational tweet quaked the Pakistani establishment.
And it's not a matter of astonishment anymore for Pakistan. Like you guys have mentioned yourself, he's the most unpredictable of all world leaders, and even his mandate to be the president of United States came across as an astonishment and as a surprise, and rather as a shock, if I may use more appropriately, for the entire world, not just Pakistan.
The anchor of the global order. Right now, United States has landed into isolationism, and this is because of the policies of President Trump. This is not what we are saying. This is what the international community, the European Union, and the Americans are themselves saying.
Donald Trump's move lays bare Pakistan's real face, a face that India knows has existed for decades now.
It is a part of the US aid package to assist countries which help them in fighting terrorism. Clearly, Pakistan has received the money but not delivered on fighting terrorism, or at least those terrorists which attack, countries like Afghanistan, India, or some of the other countries. They have been actually supporting and spawning those terrorist groups. The Americans have finally become alive to this. And to that extent, I think the Trump policy is far more realistic than what the policy of his predecessors was.
It will not make any real difference because Pakistan's funding, Pakistan's support is now coming from China. So whatever is getting from the United States is bonus. And in case the US cuts off this fund, it really won't make a real difference because Pakistan's now new friend, China, will make up the difference.
They have plotted against India for years, provided safe haven to terrorists that killed innocents. But now, no more. Pakistan's game seems to be finally up. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the latest news break coming in. Cornered Pakistan is now clearly in a huddle. What we are getting to know as we speak, Pakistan Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi is now meeting his foreign minister, Khwaja Asif. The meet comes on the back of the US President Trump's snapping financial aid to Pakistan. Well, we don't know if tangible action has been taken on that yet, but a tweet has gone out to suggest the same. Sources have told India Today that the meet is now reanalyzing Pakistan's foreign policy along with Trump's statement on annual monetary compensation to Pakistan. The meet also comes moments after Asif had tweeted saying that Pakistan would tell the entire world the difference between fact and fiction. All right, let's cut across to Major General S.P. Sinha, defense expert. He's in the studio with me. We're also joined by former diplomat Mr. Rajiv Dogra. And from Pakistan, we have political analyst Tariq Pirzada. Gentlemen, let me come to you, General Sinha, first. And the question I'd like to ask you is, the latest coming in right now, that the Prime Minister of Pakistan in a huddle with the Foreign Minister, a policy now being formulated, the kind of language that we have seen over the last 6 months has changed vis-a-vis Pakistan vis-a-vis United States. From my friend America, clearly a distinction is being made as we speak, and lines are being drawn keeping China in mind.
I was always intrigued that how can a small country like Pakistan can take such a world's most powerful country, intelligence-wise, wealth-wise, equipment profile-wise, resources-wise, for a ride. That was my question every time in my mind. How can Pakistan fool the administration of USA? That was my question in my mind. You see, the fact is that USA has, second aspect I would like to highlight, that it is my belief that Pakistan in the past has been planting moles in the US administration. That is why it was getting away with murder. My third observation, that out of $33 billion support, roughly about 14 point some billion dollars was given to Pakistan to fight terrorism. What is the net result of this funding? On the contrary, Pakistan has taken an upward trajectory in giving more funds to terrorists and creating more havoc. The worry is that Osama bin Laden, who was responsible for chaos and disaster in USA, is given a safe haven in Pakistan, and Pakistan denies whereabouts of Osama bin Laden till a major of Pakistan army, because he has taken a lot of money from US intelligence, discloses the coordinates of that Osama bin Laden, and he is killed. How can America continue to fund Pakistan, that country which has given safe haven to Osama bin Laden, that Osama bin Laden which created chaos, destroyed your World Trade Tower? Another thing I would like to tell you, certain important things. It is a fact that Pakistan was instrumental in poisoning the food of US envoy in Pakistan. That envoy had to revert back to USA. It is a fact. It is also a fact that Pakistan has been blackmailing USA on two accounts.
Right. On
two accounts. You don't give us money, we go to China. And America's geostrategic concerns with regard to Afghanistan, Taliban.
Right.
So these are the strategic issues.
Right, let me bring it. Okay, General, with your permission, I'm going to bring in Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat, in this conversation. Mr. Dogra, keeping the geopolitical situation right now in mind, do you reckon that what seems to be a tweet, possibly hard sanctions could follow at the back of this, and what could be the ramifications, implications when it comes down to Pakistan?
Well, number one, anything that Mr. Trump does is taken with a lot of salt. So people tend to dismiss him as a maverick who's not going to follow up on what he threatens. But let's look at his record. Internally, he had been mentioning that he would do away with Obamacare, the health reform that President Obama did. He had also been saying that he would introduce major tax reforms as he sees it. On both these counts, he's proved true to his promise. Second, he was upset with UN, especially after the Israel vote, and he has cut down the American contribution to UN.
Right.
He was also against America's continuation with UNESCO, and America has withdrawn from UNESCO. So both internally and externally, it will not be wise to dismiss him as a maverick who says something and does quite another thing. Now, as far as your specific question is concerned, including that of General Sinha as to how US has been foolish to give Pakistan military and economic aid all these years. In fact, it's not just General Sinha, but also every single US president, from President Eisenhower onwards in 1959 to President Obama, have asked themselves the same question as to how we can be so foolish as to trust a country like Pakistan. But then they were trapped by the dilemma as to what will follow.
Right.
Now, Mr. Trump may seem to have given a tweet which seems impulsive, but the fact is that from August onwards, August 2017 onwards, there has been consistent messaging by America, from President downwards to Secretary of State, Defense Secretary, and field commanders, that we are going to take firm action this time against Pakistan on economic aid and military aid. So while the final word is not out yet, nor is concrete action out yet, but we should take his tweet seriously as pointing to something which could lead to something significant.
And what kind of sanctions would we be talking about? Because that would possibly define more of what that tweet, which in the end is definitive if you look at it, because it says no more. So when he's saying no more, that means it ends right here. Let me bring in Tariq Pirzada in this conversation. Mr. Pirzada, do you reckon at the back of that tweet by the President of the United States, it's left Pakistan red-faced, shamed when you've been called a liar, you've been called deceitful?
Well, you know, you guys need to understand what the US President is and how his mind works. For example, when he made his first major speech against Pakistan, we thought he was going to take some actions. Then Pakistan tried to did a lot of effort in rescuing, you know, that Canadian American couple, and the same American president came on the rostrum in White House and he said, you know, we commend Pakistan, we appreciate Pakistan, we express our gratitude to Pakistan.
So, Mr. Pirzada, you're saying this is just hot air, nothing's going to follow through? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, don't put words in my mouth. Let me finish. Then came Mr. Mike Pence, the US Vice President. He came to Afghanistan and he issued a threat. But that was a, you know, it was a threat that had a olive branch also implicit in it. Then what happened was, 3 days ago, the Secretary of State of the United States, Mr. Tillerson, said, we are prepared for a partnership with Pakistan if Pakistan shows the willingness. So what Mr. Trump has done today, he has undercut, he has dismantled the policy of the State Department and that of the Defense Department by issuing this stupid, tweet from Mar-a-Lago where he's drinking.
But Mr. Pirzada, do you reckon being so dismissive of calling somebody reckless, calling somebody stupid, whatever it might be, he is the President of the United States. If he decides to cut you loose, then you're cut.
Okay, the answer is he has been threatening North Korea up and down, squeeze, he has been strangling them, tightening the noose around their
Mr. Pirzada, if the United States decides, tomorrow to put sanctions like it has on North Korea and Iran, Pakistan would be finished. And possibly, General Sinha, you could come in on that, because if this tweet is followed by sanctions, now we don't know if it will happen, but if it is followed by sanctions like the ones imposed on Iran and North Korea, like Mr. Pirzada quoted, what would be the situation of Pakistan?
As of today, Pakistan economic condition, Pakistan is in morass. It is in morass. It does not have enough money to go beyond March 2018. And if America does not give money, Pakistan is in for a big trouble. And therefore it has no choice but to become beggar again and go to China. And you know what China will do? China will be too happy to give money to Pakistan, because then Pakistan will become a satellite state, a sub-Soviet state to China.
Right.
That is what China wants, and it is very happy with this arrangement.
No, Mr. Pirzada, I'm coming right back to you. One second, sir. So there's no point talking ad nauseum. Let's go. Mr. Pirzada, sir, relax. Let's go. Let the panel have their say. We're going to come right back to you. Rajiv Dogra, would you want to suggest, with what Mr. Pirzada said, if tomorrow's sanctions are followed through, like the one possibly on Iran, we're not saying that it will happen, but if it does happen, then where does Mr. Pirzada stand actually come through? Rajiv Dogra.
Funny episode. Let me talk.
I'm coming to you, Mr. Pirzada. Let everybody have their say. Yes, Mr. Dogra.
No. You have to wait. I was not finished. You just can't.
All right, Mr. Dogra, let Mr. Pirzada finish. Yes, Mr. Pirzada, finish. Come.
Hold on.
Sir, finish.
Let me just say something. Please, let me finish. The only point I was making was, we have great strategic partnership with China, and there is nothing that the United States or its stooge India can do against Pakistan. I challenge you on the show come up with some argument,
But
and there is nothing.
Mr.
that the United
Pirzada, you're
States can stop.
exposing, Pakistan by actually calling India a stooge of United States of America not very long ago with what you just, that adjective was actually yours. But having said that, yes, General Sinha wants to come.
10 seconds. Pakistan economy is in such a bad shape that 70% of their GDP, they are in debt. They are in debt. They are in debt. And intelligentsia within Pakistan is warning Pakistan about the debt trap that China is laying with regard to One Belt, One Road initiative. And there is a revolt inside Pakistan, knowing fully well that Pakistan is walking into the trap of China. So therefore,
no, but they're not really. It's not, but General Sinha, they're not really walking into a trap. They're very well aware of what they are doing. They've assessed the geopolitical situation.
Priti ji, they are in self-destruct mode.
Yes, so let me bring it. Right.
They want to destroy themselves.
All right.
Even Allah cannot save them.
All right, let me bring in Rajiv Dogra. Rajiv Dogra. All right, Mr. Pirzada, now can I go to Mr. Dogra?
I can tell you that.
Mr. Pirzada, relax, sir. Relax, I'll come to you. Mr. Dogra, with all the, now you just heard Mr. Tariq Pirzada. Now, there has been an underlying, like I said, the language has changed over the last 6 months. Like you pointed out, the signs by the United States of America have been happening now for the last 6 months. Pakistan has been reacting to that. This underlying threat of China, a point made by Mr. Pirzada on this very show. Do you reckon China could possibly make up for the deficit if the aid is cut by the United States of America?
Well, I think we are simplifying the issue. Firstly, I expect Pakistan also to react to any move by America which puts it in economic and military difficulty. So it's not going to be an easy process, and that is why the dilemma of US and many other countries for the last 70 years. But having said that, I think China's strength and cooperation with Pakistan is overstated. China cannot replicate what US, EU, Japan and many other countries have been doing for Pakistan. Besides that, there is also the factor of World Bank and IMF support.
Yes.
Just now, Pakistan is going again to IMF for a $6 billion bailout.
Yes.
So it's not going to be easy for any single country. Now, either we have a civilized debate or we have someone who pops in like a bandmaster every few seconds.
No, Mr. Dogra,
and
have you
something
finished,
which is
sir.
totally irrelevant. So please ask your Pakistani guest to keep quiet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finish, Mr. Dogra.
I think we are overstating the case of China being able to aid Pakistan, because even recently China has expressed its unhappiness over gross corruption and over gross economic management, even of the China-Pakistan economic corridor projects. So China does not have unlimited patience either in terms of free military equipment or free economic assistance. That in any case remains to be seen. But the important issue is, what are the next steps which America would take, and what are the next retaliatory steps that Pakistan would take. I think we are in for anxious times, and the Pakistani military spokesmen, including their NSA, have given some indication of that recently.
Mr. Dogra, I want to ask you a question there, because there's so much being said about possible hard sanctions which could follow. Would you reckon that the United States of America could actually walk that line where possibly we might look at sanctions it is imposed on such like North Korea and Iran? Do you think that's even possible with Pakistan?
Well, I think sanctions is a big word, and it will not be wise to use it loosely, because sanctions mean also cooperation of all the other countries of the world, as in case of Iran and as in case of North Korea. You have seen in case of North Korea, the breach has already taken place in terms of Russia supplying oil, in terms of China supplying all kinds of material. So Pakistan has many sources, starting from China to Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries, who may continue to defy any scheme of sanctions. But what could follow is snapping of the aid by America and the Western and global institutions. that kind of a sanction or that kind of a economic and military leverage could follow. It could also follow that America may decide that Pakistan does not any longer qualify to be a non-NATO military ally. Pakistan is bound to react to these things and may stop the passage of military equipment for US troops in Afghanistan via Pakistan. So Pakistan is not without its own pressure points. That is why we will have to watch carefully what happens in the next few days or weeks.
It'll be interesting, yes. It'll be interesting to watch what happens in the next few days or week. I believe we have lost our Pakistan guest. We're going to try and re-establish that connection with Mr. Pirzada. General Sinha, let me get you in on this. Now, of course, what India does isn't quite tantamount at all to, say, the kind of posturing or hopefully intent that we might see from United States of America. But would you reckon that this is the time that India also needs to go beyond what is largely called Kadi Ninda of what Pakistan has been over the course of last months? Go, recheck the most favored nation status. Look at trade ties again. We need to also tighten our screws at our end, do you reckon?
There are two fronts on which we need to go very offensive. Indian front and at international front, and with regard to, especially with regard to USA. On Indian front, I would like to say that you remove most favored nation status of Pakistan. You stop trade with Pakistan. 600 to 600 trucks are going every week between India and Pakistan. And these majority of the trucks carry drugs, fake Indian currency notes, and certain weapons. And because of connivance of certain authorities, our own people, there is a smooth flow. That is one. Then we need to declare Pakistan as a state sponsoring terror. And we have to impress our friend USA that you also do the same and raise this issue at United Nations Organization so that other countries can also follow suit. And our like-minded friends, we need not worry about UN resolution because that resolution will be blocked by China. So what like-minded friends should stop trade with.
All right. Okay, Mr. Pirzada wants to come in. We finally have him back. Yes, Mr. Pirzada. Finish with the point that you were making while all the other panelists were talking. Over to you.
Look, the point I was making was that my Indian friends don't even understand, don't even consider was being provided to Pakistan. Those were the expenses of the US imposed war against terror along the Pak-Afghan border. And we were providing them air corridor. We are still providing them air corridor, ground corridor. We were providing them logistics support. We are still allowing their containers to continue to flow into Afghanistan.
It's another threat which possibly Pakistan is making right now that you would withdraw. The air bases will go. The air bases will go with whatever logistics that you are.
That is what I said in the beginning with regard to Afghanistan angle.
Let me answer. Could you tell this gentleman to wait for a second?
All right, finish, Mr. Pirzada. Finish.
Yeah, the day the United States imposes sanctions on us. I mean, I'm not talking about cutting the coalition support. I'm not talking about the terror related terror war against terror support. I'm talking about sanctions. The day they impose sanctions on us, we will retaliate in a massive way. Then there'll be.
And what will you do?
So it's a threat. You're actually threatening.
What will you do?
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to come back to this debate.
They would be landlocked. They will become a landlocked power in Afghanistan. Without us,
these threats are hollow. These threats are hollow, Mr. Pirzada, when your country is actually teetering towards being called a failed state. Welcome back. The Home Minister Rajnath Singh celebrated New Year's with Jawans and praised the courage of CRPF Jawans who fought bravely with Pakistan-backed terrorists in Pulwama. Rajnath had said that the entire nation was proud of the brave Jawans for their sacrifice, adding that the sacrifice of the martyrs will not go in vain, as the entire nation remembers the braves who laid down their lives just days ahead of the new year. He has warned Pakistan for plotting terror on Indian soil and promised strong action against those who are behind the attack. Remember, Jaish-e-Mohammed terror outfit, which is based in Pakistan, was involved in the attack which claimed lives of 5 CRPF jawans. Recently, India hit back at Pakistan after 4 army jawans were martyred in unprovoked firing at Keri sector of Rajouri. Pakistan, despite strong response, continues to provoke India by breaking the ceasefire in Jammu and Kashmir and sending terrorists across the LOC. Meanwhile, a chilling terror video of a 16-year-old Fidaian terrorist who was involved in yesterday's Pulwama terror attack has surfaced. Fardeen Ahmad, the suicide attacker, was the son of a top Jammu and Kashmir cop. Take a look at this report giving details of the chilling terror confession.
ये सफर रुकने वाला नहीं है, ये जारी रहेगा इंशाअल्लाह.
Our battle will go on. We will continue to attack. This is what 16-year-old Fardeen Ahmad Khande said moments before the suicide terror attack on the CRPF camp in Pulwama on Sunday. Listen to the chilling terror rant again.
ये सफर रुकने वाला नहीं है, ये जारी रहेगा इंशाअल्लाह. किसी की शहादत से ये तूफान थमने वाला नहीं है.
Sitting with assault rifles and ammunition around him, the teenager pledges to conduct more Pathankot-like attacks.
पठानकोट के डरावने ख्वाब आज किसकी नींद हराम किए हुए हैं. नगरोटा आर्मी कैंप हो या टंगदार, श्रीनगर की गलियां हो या ये रोज मुश्किन हिंद पर यलगार.
Fardeen Ahmad is the son of a serving police official of Jammu and Kashmir. His father, a constable, is a part of Jammu and Kashmir's ADGP Munir Khan's security troop. A class 10 student who joined militancy 3 months ago. In his terror rant, praises terrorists like Maulana Masood Azhar.
अमीरुल मुजाहिदीन मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब हफिजुल्लाह ताला उम्मत के वो काबिल फख्र सबूत है. फिदाइन इस्लाम की वो कायद है जिन्होंने अपनी बेहतरीन कायदाना सलाहियतों से उम्मत और जिहाद को इतना कुछ दिया कि आज जिहाद अजनबी नहीं रहा.
The video is a testimony of Pakistan radicalizing youth in Jammu and Kashmir to disrupt peace in the region. Brainwashed by terror groups, Jaish-e-Mohammed urges other young Muslims to join the group.
The 16-year-old boy was a 10th class student when he suddenly went missing from his home. Fardeen came from a very well-to-do family. His father is still a police officer serving in the J&K police department. What is worrying in this entire incident is the fact that Fardeen has become one of the first militants to be a part of a Fidaian squad in last more than 10 years. Earlier, we would only see foreign militants being part of such attacks, but now this seems that Kashmiri boys are also being trained to do that. Shujaul Haq, Singh for India Today.
Chilling confessions of a 16-year-old Pakistan-backed terrorist there. We have on the debate with us Major General S.P. Sinha, defense expert. He's in the studio with me. We have Mr. Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat. Joining us live is also Tariq Pirzada, Pakistan political analyst. General Sinha, that's the question here, because in context of what we were talking about earlier, that possibly, and if that aid is cut by the United States of America, will it actually end the terror tap which Pakistan has opened where India is concerned? Will there be any effect on that, or do you think that deficit would possibly be, like Mr. Pirzada said, made up by China?
Yes, you have to understand that what is the priority for Pakistan Army on ISI? What is priority number one? Pakistan Army survives on Hate India campaign. Their relevance in Pakistan politics is primarily dependent on Hate India and creating terror in Kashmir. That is their aim. So it is a priority one issue. So if they find money deficient on with regard to terror funding, then they will beg from somewhere. This country is begging. They only go to rich people to beg. So if some rich man does not give, they will go to China to beg. They will take money from China. But they don't understand the ramifications and seriousness of the possible debt trap in which they are walking into. So as I said, 70%.
But they're walking in with their eyes wide open.
Absolutely.
They know exactly what they're doing. They're not. Pakistan is no babe in the woods.
Preeti ji, if they are in self-destruct mode, even Allah cannot save them. That is a guarantee. They are into a self-destruct mode. They want to kill themselves. Who will save them? Not even Allah. They have no wisdom. They have whole psychology revolves, whole thinking revolves around only one aspect, that create terror in India and in whatever manner you want to do. That is their thinking. Okay. And you see people like Mr. Pirzada, totally brainwashed. Totally brainwashed. If you analyze the facial expression of Mr. Pirzada, you see he's totally brainwashed. He is not using his brain. He is not using his common sense. I am telling you, certain intelligent people within Pakistan are expressing concerns with regard to the death trap in which Pakistan is walking because of China's BRI, Belt Road Initiative. And the problem with people like Mr. Pirzada is that they are stewards of Pakistan Army. They are only echoing what Pakistan Army tells them to do. They have no brain. They don't analyze issues. They don't understand what is good for Pakistan.
And in the bargain, doing the biggest disservice to their own country.
52% of Pakistan population is below poverty line. Only their generals are having good time, and people like Mr. Pirzada are having good time. The poor people of Pakistan are on the road.
Let Mr. Pirzada come in. Yes, Mr. Pirzada. What is it that you have to say? What could possibly be your defense?
Let me make a very brief point. The United States has not been providing any assistance to Pakistan over the years. It has been only what is called terror-related coalition support. And this was for the expenses.
And what is your performance on terror front, Mr. Pirzada? What is your performance on terror front? Your interior minister says that Hafiz Saeed is a threat to national security, and you arrest Hafiz Saeed, and you don't even file FIR, and your Pervez Musharraf says that he is national asset. Tell me, is Pervez Musharraf right or your interior minister right? Please clarify this situation. Is Hafiz Saeed is as a terrorist or a national asset? You please clarify this issue. The world would like to know this.
And I'm glad he'll be able to speak.
No.
Yes, Mr. Pirzada.
I support him all the way.
So you support Mr. Hafiz Saeed?
So he is your national asset. And you don't agree with your interior minister. You do not agree with your interior minister. So you are higher than the interior minister of Pakistan. What a pity. What a pity. What a pity. You are a higher authority than your interior minister of Pakistan. Why did you arrest Hafiz Saeed? Why did you arrest him? Why are you trying to attach his property now? Why are you trying to attach his property now? If he is a saint, you have Mr. Pirzada, you have a unique dictionary in Pakistan, and the word meaning of lexicon with regard to heroes is that anybody in Pakistan is a hero who kills people, who is a terrorist, who is Hafiz Saeed, who has killed 166 people in Mumbai. So he is a hero. So you have a new dictionary which only Pakistan people can read. Rest of the world understands the actual meaning of lexicon and actual meaning of
okay, yes, Mr. Pirzada.
Who is a terrorist, who is a hero?
Mr. Pirzada, what could possibly be the defense here? Because you on national television are standing and saying that Hafiz Saeed, you're lauding Hafiz Saeed, you're saying Pakistan was with him when your own interior minister has turned out and called him a terrorist. What is the sham? Why did Pakistan arrest him? And that's possibly the reason why the United States of America has called you deceitful, has called you a liar.
No, nobody said that. You are distorting the facts. What we did was because there is a so-called resolution.
Let Mr. Pirzada speak, sir. Let him come in and then you come. Yes.
Want to stay within the parameters of those resolutions. That's what we did. As soon as the court released him, he's a free man. And he's working for the liberation of Kashmir. Okay. And to that extent, we're all with him.
I'll just come. Mr. Pirzada, when you for 9-10 months don't file a FIR, then your court obeys Pakistan military. So your courts release him. That is judiciary. If you can involve Commander Jadhav without any evidence, if you can throw out your ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in a manipulated manner by pressurizing judiciary, that is your judiciary. and you have rendered judiciary totally irrelevant because you have military courts, and that military court was to be finished. It has a 2 years, it had 2 years sunset clause. You have finished judiciary, you have finished every institution in Pakistan. You have only one institution, and that institution is Pakistan.
All right,
military.
yes, Mr. Pirzada, come in.
Well, I didn't understand what he said. Can you sum it up?
You can never understand, Mr. Pirzada, because you are blinded by your loyalty to Pakistan army, which will destroy your country, Mr. Pirzada. You have no civic sense, Mr. Pirzada. You should be ashamed of not using you. I thought you are an intelligent man, and you are not using your brains, Mr. Pirzada. You are towing the line of terrorists, Mr. Pirzada. So if you are towing the line of terrorists, if you are calling Hafiz Saeed the terrorist, Mr. Pirzada, you also fall in the same category of being a terrorist. And you are I thought you were an intelligent person, but the manner in which you are talking and behaving, I find it disgraceful.
All right, General, let me bring in, because this is just going to continue to a different sphere. I'd like to bring in Mr. Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat in all of this. Mr. Dogra, do you reckon it's possible at all? Because let's just look at even with what Mr. Rajnath Singh said today. Do you think it's possible at all if the sanctions are imposed, say if the money is cut, if the funding is cut, there would be any difference in terms of Pakistan-funded terror where India is concerned?
By United States. A lady, do you understand? Madam Anchor, there is no money being provided by United States to Pakistan. So your argument is based on false facts.
Mr. Pirzada,
why you speak so many lies, Mr. Pirzada? Your conscience doesn't prick you. You are speaking bundle of lies. Every time you speak lies. Look in what.
So, Mr. Pirzada, you're actually saying that, okay, Mr. Pirzada, calm down, sir, calm down. The President of the United States, who has laid it down in clear words, sir, listen to me, have patience, sir, come on. Right? You've said something, have patience, listen to me. You think, all right, so the President of the United States, who has detailed in his tweet amount the kind of money that is possibly in what could be interpreted gone down the drain in aid to Pakistan is not aid.
Coalition support.
Yes, the coalition support is for military training purposes for an alien nation, which was you, and you used it, and you used that fund in the coalition support. The coalition support fund was misused by Pakistan. You misused it, which was over $255 million till now, sir. Mr. Rajiv Dogra, you would want to come in. All right, Mr. Pirzada, please calm down, sir. Relax, sir. Relax. Mr. Rajiv Dogra, would you want to come in, sir?
Every payment. Hold on. Let me educate you guys.
Yes, certainly, but
yes, Mr. Dogra.
I think if there is no interruption, then you have a very valid question, and it would affect us all, including those of us in India.
Right.
The question is, what if America were to really cut off the economic and military aid to Pakistan? Now, there will be consequences. As I said earlier, Pakistan will react, and I'm sure they have their game plan ready, and it could also hurt American interests in Afghanistan. But more than that, it would directly or indirectly also have an impact both on Afghanistan as well as on India. So I think we need to think out our game plan or our strategy as to what should we do as the single most affected country by Pakistani actions on terror and otherwise, which have been hurting India not just for the past 10 years or past 20 years, but for the past 70 years. So now is a defining moment when India has to think proactively on how it can defend the possible further provocations which are likely to come from Pakistan if the its relationship with America deteriorates. Because the easiest target for Pakistan would be to A, India, B, Afghanistan, and the American or other coalition forces in Afghanistan. So I think we need to have our game plan ready, because things are not going to be easy
but
for
Mr.
us.
Dogra, do you reckon, or do you think it's a little forward to suggest the same? that we could possibly be looking at a new geopolitical world order from here on?
Well, geopolitical world order, you're right. I mean, if these things escalate and US and China and India and Pakistan and so on have a new strategic formulation, it will have repercussions just beyond the limited geographical area. But at this stage, it is too early to go into all those presumptions or assumptions. At this stage, I think our principal concern should be protective and also anticipatory of what Pakistan will do in case its relations with America deteriorate to a point where there is visible friction.
But Mr. Dogra, but you know, that indication of that has been possibly verbalized over the last 6-7 months, because we've seen this kind of language circulate, something which even Mr. Pirzada right now, and he's with us, which you also suggested, Mr. Pirzada, because you yourself have echoed the possible threat of Pakistan openly. Of course it has, where taking aid from China. You also suggested how possibly that the air bases which America has access to, where the AFPAC border is concerned, the logistical support that Pakistan provides, the threat is there that you'd pull all of that, right? So that is possibly how you are going to react.
No, we will define our course of reaction over time. Number one, I'm not going to explain everything to you right now, but let me tell you, Pakistan has a major investment in terms of CPEC coming from China into Pakistan. We have a strategic partnership, and no power in the world can literally put us on a detour as a result of its change in policy. The United States is in a bad shape. They are losing a war in Afghanistan, and so is India losing a war in Kashmir.
All right, Mr. Dogra, would you want to, you know, I see you smiling there because there's a fair bit of exasperation, I guess, that sets in.
Oh, yeah. Losers are always smilers.
Mr. Pirzada, you know, it's a little ironic. Keeping in mind in what we're debating, what has just gone down, it's a little ironic. Yes, okay, yes, Mr. Dogra.
Right. There are a lot of ironic things that you have failed to understand.
I'm not going to react to your Pakistani guest or his statements, but the matter of fact is that
in a matter of Indian fact,
Mr. Pirzada, you had your say, sir. Let Mr. Dogra talk. Yes.
I mean, come on. You have people who don't understand the exact nature of...
Sir, I don't think you understand it, because you have been asked so many questions, and you yourself have not been able to articulate the same. All right, Mr. Pirzada, sir, with your permission, come on, calm down. Yes, Mr. Dogra, finish your point.
All right, my time is up.
It's just great worry that the financial terms of CPEC investment by China are such that Pakistan will become an economic colony of China. So if Pakistan were to turn in an even greater measure towards China, then I think there are very bad days ahead.
We have a friend on our side. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dogra, I understand your exasperation. I totally understand it, because it's just sad, and the irony seems to be completely lost, Mr. Pirzada. You know, Mr. Pirzada, anyway, I don't even want to get into that. All right, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We wrap up this debate there. What we will do is get you a quick update on the massive traffic snarls that the national capital has been crippled with right on day one of the new year 2018. More than 1 lakh people stuck at India Gate circles as they gathered there to celebrate the new year. The Delhi Traffic Police also issued an alert asking people to avoid all routes leading to India Gate. But it's just not India Gate, the entire city totally gridlocked. And this is what it actually looks like right now, right outside on Delhi roads. Colleague Anandya is joining us. Anandya, you know, in the afternoon when I was coming to work, it took me over 2 hours because the entire city is gridlocked, not just the India Gate area. What are you witnessing right now? Have things eased up?
Well, I couldn't go to the OB because the entire road is blocked. It's chock-a-block. Just give you a sense that how it looks like right now. This is the scenario where we are standing right now. It's a Copernicus Mark, and the entire road is chock-a-block. If you can see what I'm trying to show you through Skype, this is the scenario right now, and this is not here particular to this place, Preeti. This is the entire stretch, be it Mandi House, be it Connaught Place, be it Kasturba Gandhi Marg, be it ITO, be it the GND, everybody, name it, all the areas. Initially it was Central Delhi, then it turned out to be the areas adjoining Central Delhi, and now it turns out to be everywhere in the NCR, including Noida, even outside Film City, everywhere it's chock-a-block. The Delhi Traffic Police has said in a statement that at least 1 lakh people have assembled there, though that view is clearly contested by from a lot of quarters. But at this point of time, the situation is as bleak as this. And if this is a parameter to judge that how the year will be, this is a very bleak start for a year that the new year evening being so catastrophic as far as the traffic situation here in the national capital is concerned.
Well, thank you, Anandya, for joining us. I hope you do get out of the snarl as soon as you can, because it's a nightmare today on being on Delhi roads there. The entire city, arterial roads, not just arterial roads, possibly every main road is gridlocked with traffic. We're going to go into a quick break. To stay with us, news and updates continue on the other side.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.